There's been a recent amount of controversies with the DCEU, and I'm going to deal with some of those a little bit later. But in this one, I want to deal with one in particular, namely how the Batman issue is going to be handled in the coming DCEU films. Now, a lot of this is still speculation, but Michael Keaton is reported to come back as Batman, and Ben Affleck may also be coming back as Batman as well. And the question is, how is this going to occur if the Matt Reeves Batman film is going to come out? How do all these Batman coexist? And the solution that they're going to try to come up with is the multiverse. And if you've kept up with the X-Men films as well as the MCU, they've already tried this out where you basically have alternative versions of the same character, but sometimes played by the same actor, sometimes played by different actors, but they're all widely within the same universe, but they're just in different dimensions. This has already been tried out with DC itself with the CW, but I'm less familiar with that. After Smallville, I really didn't pay much attention to the CW. I've watched a little Supergirl, but they've already waded in with the multiverse there. So they've already done this a little bit, but obviously doing this with the cinematic universe is a different step. But I want to take a different tack than a lot of people and look at it from the lens of the JLU. That was Justice League, the animated version, which played for several years. And I want to look at one particular storyline and how that's going to help resolve the Keaton Affleck issue in the upcoming Flash movie. So in the JLU, there was an interesting little self-contained set of stories called Justice Lords. Essentially what happened is you had dark versions of the hero characters. In this reality, the Flash dies due to Lex Luthor, and the heroes respond. That's not a spoiler. That's actually the premise of the stories. There were a couple of other interesting alternative timeline stories, but this one was very compact. So essentially, the Flash played a big role, but again, sort of as the cause of the alternative timeline, and the Justice Lords met, quote unquote, the real heroes in their own timeline, and so on and so forth. So this idea of alternative futures was already sort of done with the Justice League animated version. And there's interestingly, ironically enough, a Batman Beyond connection because, again, Keaton will presumably be in the Batman Beyond version of reality, and Batman Beyond actually was in the JLU. He's sort of showed up at the very end. So they actually tried to create a kind of closed loop universe within the animated universe. So, long story short, they've already sort of done this experimentally with the animated version of the DCEU. So they already sort of have a rough goalpost of how they want to do it. But again, with the DCEU, they've had a lot of problems integrating everything together. So the way it's going to break down, at least in my estimation, is going to be kind of like this threefold or tripart pattern. We're going to get the main core of the DCEU, and that's going to be Gal Gadot as Wonder Woman, Aquaman, Henry Cavill as Superman. But from that core, we're going to have these other extended universes, but they're all going to be broadly within the same reality. So we're going to get Pattinson Batman. That's going to be part of the core DCEU, but Batman Beyond will presumably be part of this larger set of dimensions, and then we can get the Ben Affleck Batman, and he's just within his own dimension as well. So it's a lot to take in, but the actual story shouldn't be that complicated. We're just going to have a core kind of DCU universe, and we're going to have these alternative branches played by different actors, and we can just kind of pull back and forth between the Nolan version of the Batman, the Burton version, even the Joel Schumacher, technically in principle, and all these different versions of Batman, even if they're played by different actors. But again, they're still widely within the same DCEU universe. So this is it for the JLU solution to the multiverse problem of Batman and the other characters in the DCEU. This has been Popcult Analyzed, dealing with the Batman paradox or controversy in the DCEU. If you like the content, please hit the like button and or subscribe. Popcult Analyzed. Thank you for listening.